Hello and welcome to Quinnville. I'm Marstanum and you're watching Mars Plays. I'm looking forward to what should be a nice relaxing build today after all the hectic troubleshooting we did last time around. As you'll see throughout today's video, the city's running great after the improvements we made last week, and that gives us a chance to work on something we set aside for later a while back. We're going to make use of the land surrounding the new Briarwood Lumber Company area by building a small neighborhood for the workers who have families or would otherwise rather not live in the workers' barracks on site. Plus, this was a major project for the Hawthorns, and you better believe they reserved a little bit of space for themselves. Let's head that way, shall we? All the way on the other side of the city here. Now, if you'll remember, when we did this, I mentioned that this land here is what the Hawthorns gave to the rail company in exchange for them getting service active in this area again. And what the rail company is going to do with that is build some worker housing, a residential development, if you will, and then sell that land off, or at least a lot of it. I would imagine they would keep some there, especially the stuff that's going to be commercial, and lease that space out so that they have a continuing source of revenue from it. Right, let's get started by pulling some roads down in here. I don't want to grid this too heavily, but I do want to tie into our existing network. I'm going to start with... I'm going to change this into a large avenue here, just do the one lane each way. We don't need to have a whole massive collector, even with the little bit of development that we're going to have in here. Ooh, before I get any further, I need to grade some of this out. So let's grab prevalent height here. We'll just flatten all this out. Okay, good enough. That's going to be a nice drive along the river here, or a bike ride, or what have you, however you choose to use it. I'm going to use these regular roads for the rest of this. We might upgrade some of those in a minute, but for now let's just get them in as they are. Trying to maximize some of our developable land. So I'm going to be careful about how I handle this. You'll just have to do with a little bit of loss out here, or do something else to make it work. I won't worry about the tree fill at the moment. I'll make sure to take care of that as we go. Making sure the yard space is plenty big. Don't see much point in trying to cram things in here. One thing to note is I'm gonna fence along this road here, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm using a good chunk of that land behind it. But to do that effectively, let's do this. Ooh, that's messy with guidelines here. See if I can make it give me the one that I want. I think I got the right one. Move this out of our way for the time being. We'll put it back over here somewhere when we're done. Don't think that's straight, and I would rather keep it at least a little bit grid-ish. But let's not try to make that connection. Let's do something different. Don't want to connect this up all the way because then it'll become a through road, and I want to keep traffic on this street over here as much as I can. let's just come down like that. Do another one of these across. Space for homes along there. Don't like what it was doing terrain-wise down there anyway. I'll mess with that in a second. Let's get this stuff done how we like. Then we can worry about all that. I think that should be fine. I won't build zone anything on this side. We'll get some trees in here to buffer from the freeway. Still let the creek access exist down here. I know this is broken up and there's some of you who really won't like it, but this sort of stuff exists. People like cul-de-sacs, this rural sort of feeling, especially out here with all the noise and craziness. It would be nice to have a nice quiet area like this, I would think. Ooh, I wasn't intending to do that, but let's connect these up. We can fill these in with pedestrian paths. I don't know if I want to go any further towards the freeway here. I'll leave that green space. We're certainly not going to develop along here at all. It'll all be internal to this area. Probably would make sense to connect up here, though. Then before we get building, let's get our paths in. Turn off everything but angle, so I can get nice and close to stuff. Because of how the game works, I don't know that that's actually going to complete a connection to the street if I do that. So I need to be really careful and connect to the street, but not that node. And that will allow all this stuff to connect and to everything else. Take angle off so I can make sure I slide that in. I don't want to take up more space in here than I have to. I'm intentionally leaving this unconnected. I want the connection to exist inside the neighborhood, not outside of it. So I want to shift this down. I don't want to take up, again, more developable area than I have to get that in. We can fix that by just forcing an upgrade here. See, that pops right back into place. Could zone the trail through here, but I would lose a lot of the greenery in order to do that, so I'm going to let this suffice. It's just going to be a little bit of a disconnected area. Pretty much anywhere anybody's going to want to walk to is going to be up here. I'm going to put in a little bit of commercial, and then of course the jobs up there. So I'm not too concerned with it being a little more disconnected than usual. Let's get our naming in place quickly. As I mentioned, I want to get a little bit of commercial in here. I don't want any of that going up against these existing roads, so I'm going to make these real small anyway. I don't want them to be overwhelming at all. That's something I sometimes see builders do. They want to make sure that there's enough walkable commercial around, and so they go in and they put, they'll zone like all commercial along here, and it kind of defeats the purpose of building a residential neighborhood to get your residence numbers up if you put in that much commercial. So we'll just have a little bit in here to provide some places to shop, and the rest will devote to residents. I'm not going to put anything on this side, but we'll certainly put some along here. I mentioned I was going to fence this in. I'm going to use one of my favorite tricks to do this. So I'm going to go and select the fence that I want to use, and I want... I would think that people here would want views of the river, even though we're fencing that in. So I'm going to use the farm fence, because I think that works really well in a rural area like this. I'm going to my network multi-tool and select create parallel mode. As long as it's a network, the network multi-tool can parallel anything to anything else. Hit tab to get it on the correct side, and I'm going to set this fence back a little ways because I'm going to do some landscaping along there. When I drive around the city here, most of the residential areas that are on collectors have at least a little bit of space between the sidewalk and the fencing for some kind of landscaping, even if it's just a strip of gravel with some bushes. So I want to emulate that in this build today. And then we'll finish it up, put angle on. Just make sure we're right where we want to be. Again here. And that will keep us from having anything facing on this end. Now that we've got all this up, let's go fill in the green space really quick. I see that I need to add water pipes, of course. And I'll fix this terrain here as well. Since this is, if I zone here, we'll just say it's under the path here. Need to bring some down here as well. Ugh. I'm going to be too perfectionist to let that one go. Much better. And just in case we end up building here, we may zone a little bit of this at least. Want to have a little bit of space on the side of the road just for this straight section, so I'm going to have to pull that out a little bit on my own. And you'll see why in just a moment. We're not going to have too much in the way of amenities here. There's a lot in place already with these stations. I think that they'll reach over here just fine, but that doesn't mean I want this place to be super low land value, and everybody deserves some sort of entertainment space. I'm not going to make this very park heavy at all, but I do want to put in this cool new asset that I have. Let's go into my park space. There's two versions of this thing. It's the Vista Point Overlook Rest Stop and the Vista Point Overlook by Larry's Skylines, who also has a YouTube channel. Comes up with some pretty funny stuff if you want to check that out. But I love how this looks. I love how it came out. Yeah, I'll have to... Oh, I like that because it doesn't conform, so I can actually lower that terrain a little bit and have that stick out here. But it's just a way station, so you'd have some cars come here and park. You've got table and chairs, space to come out here and just enjoy being by the river and looking at the fields beyond. And yeah, you'd see some train traffic go by, but I mean, for some people that would be a plus. Let me see if I can make the terrain here look a little bit nicer. Oh, that was too aggressive. Being a little finicky right on this corner for me. I may have to give in and bring this out some too in order to make that look how I want it. Yeah, it's not quite going to let me do what I would ideally like. Which is A-okay. We'll work with what the game gives us. That'll be okay. Another thing that I can do with this, since I have move it, is I'm going to pull this in a little bit closer. Just a little bit. Okay. Come in here and put some bushes along the fencing here. Use these rhododendrons instead of the mariah that I normally like to use. Actually, I'm going to take that back. I've reserved those for another spot. Let's use the hedge. Oh, that looks a little bit more intentional now, and leave some green space in there to just makes it look a little bit nicer. And cramming everything in too close together. Let's get our residential stuff set up. Let's get a zone in here first because I want to use the European suburbia. I just think they look nicer. They end up looking a little bit more rural than our regular zoned residential stuff does. So let's do some of that. Also, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to node controller in some crossing right there. And let's do one here and here as well, so that people can get across the street to the paths. I'm going to zone this stuff in with plenty of space between. Some of these will be larger than others. These would end up having huge backyards, so we'll make these larger homes. To make a couple of them a little smaller. There, we'll just have them closer together instead. I am going to build just here up. I won't get any closer than that to the freeway here. So it'll take a little bit to fill in, and I said that I was doing something here, and I completely forgot to do it. There we go. Now, I'm sorry, people who already built your homes. Those will get replaced with the correct kind. I don't think we need to do anything policy-wise out here. You know what I'm going to do just for this area? I'm going to do schools out. That way people won't be as interested in getting continuing education. They'll go and they'll work in the factories, etc. It'll show that this is a workers' town for this company. And then it's appropriate for the tree theme here. And the other thing that I'm going to put in place, we've got this space over here, and the Hawthorns spent a lot of time and money and effort on putting this place together. You bet they would save some space for themselves. So let's build what they built. Well, hopefully the helicopters do their job over here. Oof, that's harsh. Not going to worry about the need for electricity. It'll get filled in as stuff grows out there. Let me check services. They should be fine through this whole area. A little bit of a need out here. It's not terrible. I'm going to just let it be good enough. This isn't going to be a high dollar area. It's very working class, affordable homes type of a thing, so we'll let that be. Oof. And once again, Briarwood is going up in smoke. Okay, I'm going to pick my one-way road with grass, not with trees, because I want to be able to handle the landscaping myself. Make sure all my stuff is on, good, because I know exactly what I want to do with this. So we're going to come out to here. Here we're a good distance away and just dead even with the road guidelines are going to make it a pain. Dead even with the river. Let's see if I remember. I believe doing 5 units nets me what I want, but let's scoot that back just a hair. Go 2 out, 2 up, 2 out, 2 up. See how I did 5 units and it gives me 6 to work with. I did that intentionally because what I want to do, and I'm going to pause it for... Well, I'm not going to pause it yet. Let's finish getting this built. I do want to use my tree line here. Some of this is just guide road. Not too far up with that guide. So now we'll tie this in. Turn our road guidelines back on. Perfect. And then I'll back that out, so just so that curves directly down. And then go back to these. Perfect. Oh, jeez. It's getting worse. Of course, right where we're building in this beautiful area that's going to look like garbage for the next little while. I'm going to have to get electricity over here someplace, and I do want to build a small bit of residential out here as well. We're going to build a parallel road here for our residential to branch off of. Tie that in on both ends. I'm going to let this sit. I can't work like this. I'll be right back. As I was saying, we're going to have to get electricity over here somehow, because this is where they're going to have their estate. In order to do that, we're going to do a combination of a few things. Let's get a little bit of zoning in here. They would, of course, want the larger house in the neighborhood. So we're going to limit the size of the other houses around. Don't want that to screw with the shoreline too much when it gets built. That's why I'm pulling those back. We'll do something landscaping-wise in here. Let's pull our streets through. Do we have a street in the middle here? Not really, so we'll have to figure out another name for this. And this one as well. Appropriate, I think. Actually, I want to just call this that private drive, because those are the types of signs that you would see here. We're going to fence off a little bit of this area here. And hopefully I will find that I've left myself enough room. I might have made Fireside a little bit too close, or not put this far enough out here. We'll find out in a sec. Okay, so in order to get electricity to jump all the way out here, I'm probably going to need... Well, first of all, I'm going to zone this, and then I'm going to cheat, because I have mods. So I'm going to pause it. I'm going to use Find It, and I'm going to go just to residential that are 4x4. Probably my favorite of all these is only a level 2, which it boggles my mind, because I think this is great. I think it's certainly high dollar. I'm going to need to flatten the terrain out here a little bit, too. Do that real quick. And while I wait for that to build, I'm going to turn a lot of this into a park space. I may have just given you a hint of something I'm going to do in a moment here. And I also want to regular zone, or district, this little baby neighborhood in. Stuff wouldn't be really have a neighborhood name to it. We're just going to call the whole thing Hawthorne Manor. This will definitely have a policy in place. We're going to boost education here, and then here we go, high-tech housing to boost the land values in the area as well. Oh, I need to get water. And that will suffice to get it out there, which is good. And nobody's interested in moving in here right now. In part, that's because we just put all these zones in, and they're still soaking up some of that demand. Okay, let's get to work on our detailing here and hope that this blackness clears out scorched earth from our fire. Oh, before I forget, I need to make that historical. And I'm going to have to do something else to get electricity here where this place is going to get abandoned, since nothing is filling in for me. I suppose that would do the trick. I'm just going to use the old disaster trick here and use the quake sensor. Yeah, that's not going to be close enough. Okay, that'll be close enough there. And then I don't want to wait for this stuff to fill in, so let's just do a line temporarily. I'll have to make sure I remember to get rid of this. This area fills in down here. I just don't want that to go away. This I should be able to move because I'm going to put some other stuff in here, but I didn't want this thing to die in the meantime. So let's go into our parks, and we're going to need a main gate, unfortunately, but we can make it look good. Down all the way. Alright. Stay with our standard park path. Trying to center that up. Clear. As a matter of fact, we're going to clear a lot of trees out of here. Let's get... I want to get my fencing in place so that I know exactly where I want the to clear the trees out. We're going to landscape their grounds very specifically. What I'm using right now is my road guidelines to make sure that this fence is perfectly straight back here. I want to use the... Let's see, the park fence... That one, okay. So I want this to be parallel to the house, to the road, etc. And then I'm just going to pull it out quite a ways so that I can grab onto it where I want. Ooh, that's cutting it too close. Yeah, they wouldn't want anybody putting a house there. I think they'd want a little bit more room on the side than that. So yeah, let's come back out to here, and we'll have to reconfigure what's going on Fireside. Looks like that's about the same distance out. This is junk. I think they'd find that to be an acceptable distance. Then we'll clear out the trees. Got a stubborn one. Did not want to leave. Okay. Gonna detail this place up really nicely, and it's gonna come out looking really good, though we might not be able to see it right now because of this scorch. I hate that this sticks around so long. It does look like it's beginning to clear out, though, so hopefully, well, regardless, I'll let it run for a while at the end of the build so you can see what it looks like when it's a completed project. Oh, also, I should be able to move this a bit away now. Okay, let's frame this area with these Pacific rhododendrons. And then we'll fill in the middle area with the lantanas. Starting to come back a little bit, I think, at least on this side. See what that does. Perfect. But we're not done. Let's get another bit of park path. Not going to let me center it, so I'll have to do it myself. Here, just get this node where I want it. And come off of that. I'm just going to have to let it be good enough instead of being super picky about it. Let's come across here. And switch to our nature reserve path. Do a little bit of a meander through here. Don't like how that came out at all. There we go. Just a little bit of a meander through there. Now we've got a little bit of work to do. I want to add a node in the middle here, because I think it looks ridiculous without a support of some kind. I don't like that that goes down, so we're going to make those nodes to object height. Actually, that's high, isn't it? We want to bring them all down to object height. That should be fine. Okay. Let's make these nodes look better. And then bring in the park assets that I wanted to use. Use this little pier on this side, and we'll use the larger one down here at the end. Just a little private area, and they can go and have a party or whatnot, and we will have to get electricity over here. Fortunately, we can connect that up by placing another asset. And I'm going to use the nature reserve campfire site, because I know personally I would love to have some place like this. Nice fire pit out in the backyard on the tiny island, piece of island that they own. That should connect everything up. Ooh, it didn't quite. So what we'll do, let's move this. Second now. No still, huh? There we go. That'll do the job. I'm not going to mess with the trees or anything out here any further, other than to do a buffer for them along the rail line here. Let's see if this works without that line. It does indeed. Oops, I need to get water out here. Now let's finish this up. As you can start to see it coming in, especially over here. It's just a really nice little garden area that they'll be able to use. Come out and have some friends over, have a drink out in the gazebo. The smokestacks and stuff will be largely hidden by the trees once the trees have filled in better. We can also speed up a little bit. Like I said, we'll do something on our own in this section, but I want to wait until I can actually see what I'm working with. I want to change this to those flowering Mariah coming in. And then we'll line this. I think we'll continue with the Mariah out here. Then along the outside, we'll just have some sort of bush screen. We can use our wild hedge again for that. And then let's place a little bit of additional trees for shade. This is saying it's no electricity. Okay, so this did not connect us like it was supposed to, or like I thought that it would. Let's go into our electric view. Well, shoot. So that's not going to cut it on its own. It'll get me to here, but I will need some other way to connect these up. Let's look at what we have asset-wise. When I did the test build, I must have built things a little bit differently location-wise. Don't want to have like 1,000,001 of these things, really of any of it. I was really hoping that this would work as it was, to the point where I'm tempted to move it and drag this whole thing down. Matter of fact, that would fix it. Oops, that didn't work out very well, did it? Let's just undo all that. I'm not going to mess with it. How are we going to get something over here? Let me try something. I have this tiny little park. I'll have to replace that bush and that tree. I hate that moving stuff like this gets rid of anything under it, but I do like that functionality of the thing, of the tree anarchy mod a lot. It saves the machine quite a bit, except I don't want to lose that house, and it's gone and there's nothing I can do about it. Alright, I'll have to build it again. Yeah, it's not going to do it either. Alright, give me a minute, I'll figure something out. Alright, as you can see, we've got it connected. What I did is I put in a couple more fire things back here. You know, maybe they like to burn things. Maybe they like to see trees burn because they're tired of working with them all day. Or maybe they're the ones that are setting all these fires. Who knows? But they have a couple of fire pit things in the backyard. And they'll just have to deal with it because we needed to connect this somehow. And I didn't want to spam gazebos or anything. So I spammed the fire thing. You know what? Changing my mind. I don't want to spam gazebos, but I don't want to spam these things either. So we'll just have one of the this other type of gazebo out here. Oh, I think that'll be a really nice place to look at the views you get from here. That's glorious. Yeah, I think they'll be happy with that. I think they'll be very happy with that indeed. And so am I. So as you can see now that the damage is mostly gone, not entirely. This has a really nice feel to it. There's a lot of color. I'm sure it would smell amazing with all the different flowers going on in here. Check and make sure that we're down to 0. Yep. Good, good, good. And I don't mind that people are coming in here. It makes it look like they've got active social lives. They've got people coming over to see them, parties going on. You'd think they'd be quite the social couple in town, considering their status and the work that their family has done over time. Might have to keep our eyes on what houses come in here, because I like these a lot more than I like that one. Maybe, maybe not. This one for sure. Cute little house. But again, I'll just leave it all off. We'll let them level up on their own, do what they want to, do what they need to, and mess with it later, if we have to do that. Let's come in and really quickly get some landscaping in here. See what my options are. I think something like this jacaranda would look good. Absolutely not. That did not come out how I had hoped. I like the height on those. It's kind of a screen. And let's finish that thought. I'll put something else low to finish that screening effect. I think they would want to do everything they could for this neighborhood to kind of separate it from the industrial, even though it's right there. Yeah, let's take a look and see what this does. Ooh, too big. I think that one will work. Let's get this tightened up a little. I'm gonna fill in that center with the same stuff. That looks good. I can live with that. I'm gonna fill this in a little bit better. Whoops, I spilled over and I did not mean to do that. Get out of there, you. There we go. One other thing that I'm realizing, there's not a lot of parking in here, so let's fix that real quick before we call it for the day. You'd expect an industrial area to have at least some amount of parking for the workers, especially with how distant it is from the rest of the city. So put a little bit in place there. Then just one or two here and there. I want to interrupt the feel that these places get of seclusion, so let's do it like here instead. And I'll leave this stuff alone. They can walk that far. Or really, I think not very many are using this at once anyway. It's fine. I don't want to flood the place with parking lots, even though I do want to give them some options to park. I think this came out really nice. I think this would be a really cool place to live. Yeah, maybe this house is a little bit too small for the kind of feelings that I'm going for here. Maybe I'll bring another asset into the build even. I'll have to take a look at what's around for houses of that size without getting into Rico. As far as what we've got, I think this looks really good. And except I need to. Looks like this needs to come down just a little bit. Ooh, it's being cranky with me here. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's getting upset, but we'll leave it at that. Call it good. I think this place come out looking really nice. They've got their really lovely estate. Some open grounds and a few trees. Lovely little area back here that's shielded from the rail and has some great amenities. And there goes the forest again. That's I'm gonna have to add in the mod that cuts tree spreading down without removing it entirely. I don't want it gone, but I want it diminished. So I'll leave you with this lovely view. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Hopefully we'll burn a little less next time. I hope you guys had fun. I definitely did. Maybe not so much at this, but we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you think that I've earned it, and as always, enjoy the ride.